Hello everyone. Today we are going to explain about the SQL injection. I am Manasa. I am taking up a introduction part of this topic. SQL is a database computer language which is designed for managing data in our relational database management system. SQL injection gains access to a database and steal valuable information from the database, and it can also destroy or alter data in the database. This SQL is a code injection technique which is used to exploit a security vulnerability occurring in the database layer of the application. Here, the attacker target the SQL server, common database server used by many organizations to store confidential data. The prime objective behind SQL injection attack is to obtain the information while user accessing a database table that may contain password, personal information such as a credit card numbers, social security numbers, or passwords. SQL injection occurs when malicious SQL statements are inserted into a form field. Before launching the attack, the attackers determines whether a database and the table resides into it are vulnerable. Many web pages take parameters from web users and make SQL queries to the database. For example, when a user logs in with the username and password, an SQL query is sent to the database to check if the user has a valid name and password. With the malicious code, hackers can change some information or gain the customer information. Now my friend Kavya will explain the next slide.
I am Kavya N. Now I am going to explain about the steps for SQL injection attacks. The attacker looks for the web pages that allow submitting data, that is login page, search page, feedbacks, etc. The attackers also looks for the web pages that display the HTML commands such as post and get by checking the site source code. To check the source code of any websites, right click on the web page and click on view source. If you are using IE means Internet Explorer, source code is displayed in the notepad. The attacker checks the source code of the HTML and looks for form tag in the HTML code. Everything between the open form and closed form have potential parameters that might be useful to find the vulnerabilities. The attacker inputs a single quote under the text box provides on the web page to accept the user's names and passwords. If the response is an error message such as use a equals to a or something similar, then the website is found to be susceptibility to an SQL injection attack. The attackers uses SQL commands such as a select statement command to retrieve data from the database or insert statement to add information to the database. Then we similarly SQL commands may allow by using of a login and may return many rows in a table or even an entire database table because the SQL server is interpreting the terms literally. The double slashes near the end of the command tell SQL to ignore the rest of the commands as a comment. Next slide, my friend Adarsh will be explain it.
Hello everyone, myself Adarsh. I am going to explain about blind SQL injection. Blind SQL injection is used when a web application is vulnerable to an SQL injection, but the result will not be visible to the attacker, which means when an attacker exploits a SQL injection, sometimes the web application displays error message from the database complaining that SQL query syntax is incorrect. At this time, the attacker makes use of blind SQL injection. It is a type of SQL injection attack in which the attacker makes different SQL queries that ask the database true or false questions. Then they analyze differences in the response obtained back between the true or false statements and determine the answer. This type of attacks is also known as content-based blind SQL injection. In the case of time-based attack, the attackers make the database perform a time-intensive or time-demanding operations. If the website does not return a response immediately, that web application is vulnerable to blind SQL injection. This is known as time-based blind SQL injection. Next topic will be done by my friend Manjunath.
Hello everyone, my name is Manjunath. Today I am going to explain tools used for SQL Server penetration. So the first point is App Detective Pro. It is a network-based discovery and vulnerability assessment scanner that discovers database applications within their infrastructure and assess security strength. It locates, examines reports and fixes security holes and misconfigurations as well as identity, user rights and privilege levels based on its security methodology and extensive knowledge based on application level vulnerabilities. Thus, organization can harden their database applications. So, second point is DB Protect. It enables an organization with complex heterogeneous environment to optimize database security, manage risk, and boost the regulations compliance. It integrates database asset management, vulnerability management, audit and threat management, policy management, and reporting and analyst for a complete enterprise solutions. So the third point is database scanner. It is an integrated part of internet security systems dynamic threat protecting platform that assess online business risk and by identifying security exposures in the database applications. Database scanner offer security policy generation and reports functionality, which instantly measures policies, compliances, and automates the process of security critical online business data. Database scanner runs independently of the database and quickly generates detailed reports with all the information needed to correctly configure and secure databases. So fourth point is SQL Poke. It is an NT-based tool that locates Microsoft SQL servers and tries to connect with the default system administration account. A list of SQL commands are executed if the connection is successful. Fifth point is NGSSQL crack. It can guard against weak passwords that make the network susceptible to attack. This is a password cracking utility for Microsoft SQL Server 7 and 2000 and identifies user account with weak passwords so that they can be reset with stronger ones, thus protecting the overall integrity of the system. So last point is Microsoft SQL Server fingerprint tool. This is a tool that prevents fingerprint version on Microsoft SQL Server 2000, 2005 and 2008 using well-known techniques based on several public tools that users identifies the server SQL server and also can be used to identify vulnerable versions of Microsoft SQL servers.
Hello everyone, my name is Vindhya. I'm going to explain about how to prevent SQL injection. SQL injection attacks occur due to poor website administration and coding, and the steps to prevent SQL injection are: the first one is input validation. The coder should replace all single quotes by double quotes. Sanitize the input. That means user input needs to be checked and cleaned of any characters or strings that could possibly be used maliciously. For example, if you take character sequence such as colon, hyphen, select, insert, and XP, these can be used to perform an SQL injection attack. Numeric values should be checked while accepting a query string value by using isNumeric function for active server pages. It should be used to check these numeric values. We have to keep the text boxes form fields as short as possible to limit the length of the user input. And the next step is modify error reports. SQL errors should not be displayed to outside users, and to avoid this, the developer should handle or configure the error reports very carefully. And the third step, other preventions. The default system accounts for SQL Server 2000 should never be used. Isolate database server and web server. Both should reside on different machines. Most often, attackers may make use of several extended stored procedures such as XPCMD shell and XP grant login in SQL injection attacks. In case such extended stored procedures are not used or have unused triggers, stored procedures, user defined functions, then these should be moved to an isolated server. Now my friend Monica will take over. Thank you.
I myself, Monica, my friends will explain how the SQL injection attack will be done, what are the steps they were taken, and what are the tools they were used, and how to prevent this attack. Let us know laws to punish the attackers. In the USA, SQL injection and other types of hacking are illegal under various laws and regulations, stemming from the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act and the Patriot Act. If they are granted access by the website owner to try to hack the website as a part of formal security audit or white hat penetration testing, you can do SQL injections, but otherwise it would be illegal. Yes, it is illegal because you are attempting to access information that you shouldn't have to access. Check out the Computer Misuse Act 1990. Under this Act, Section 1 to 3 of the Act introduced three criminal offences: unauthorized access to computer material, punishable by 6 months imprisonment or a fine not exceeding level 5 on the standard scale, currently 5,000. In Canada, the Criminal Code of Canada contains sections that specifically cater for cybercrime, including unauthorized use of computer, possession of device to obtain computer, mischief in relation to data, identity theft and identity fraud. In this case, both section 342.1 Canadian Criminal Code, it will short form CCC, unauthorized use of a computer, and section 430 1.1 CCC, mischief in relation to data, that is damaging data, were contravened. In Australia, both state laws and Commonwealth laws exist in Australia. In South Australia, the investigation of cybercrime by police is classified under 3 tiers and is spread across the organization depending mainly on severity. This is about punishment given to the attackers. Thank you all.